A very good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are. I'm very glad that we have people from around the globe joining us, and it's a very good way again to reconnect. It's a great pleasure that we have several partner organizations with which we are co-hosting this webinar, which I think is about an important topic. In particular, UNIDO, the African Platform for Community Power and Rural Electrification, the Chinese Wind Energy Association, the International Renewable Energy Academy, which is hosted by York University, and the Danish Folkecenter. So let me, just before we start with the formal welcome addresses, inform you a little bit about how this webinar is working. So we would request everybody who is not speaking, who is not a speaker, to stay muted in order to avoid, of course, disturbing sounds, background noise. So please stay muted until it's your turn to speak, either the speakers or, of course, if we have time for discussion, also the Q&A sessions. If you have any questions, please, in particular, make use of the chat window. Everybody can write questions here. That is, of course, an option, and then we can come back to your questions. I would also like to mention that this is a public event, so we will record this webinar and later publish it on our channels. It will be publicly available, each of the presentations, which is, of course, a good way that you can also check the presentations and watch them again. But please be aware that whatever you say, if you raise your voice, if you say something, it's going to be recorded and other people will be able to listen not only now, but also later. Last but not least, let me mention also, again, great thank you to everybody who is involved in this, in particular our co-hosts, and also to our partner here, Prof Ventus, who is supporting us so that we can have these webinars running, which are free at no cost. Of course, if you want to support our activities, there's different ways of doing it. Joining WWEA, we're always happy having new members from around the world joining our network. And we have a range of sponsorship options for these webinars, which are, of course, relevant for companies in particular. So this is kind of introduction. With this, I would like to hand over to the president of the World Wind Energy Association, Peter Rae. Peter, you are joining us from Tasmania, from Australia. Peter.
Well, hello to everybody. As Stefan has said, it's various times of the day for each of us, but this is a time when we can talk about education, because that's something which is 24 hours a day anyway. It needs to be. As the world has seen the development of the wind industry, has seen something which has, in the past 25 or 30 years, gone from being an immature and developing industry to something which is an important part of the whole world today. It has touched virtually every part of the world, and as it's become more extended and further developed, the need for education, the need for teaching and for development of design and development of new ideas, as well as how to carry out the existing ideas, has become extremely important. And so I believe, and I think we would all believe, that tonight's webinar will fulfill a very important function. And I'd like to thank and congratulate those who have been behind the development of ideas for education systems, and that includes our old friend and former president, Dexin, who I welcomed this evening to this, today to this webinar. There are others, too many to mention, but I just pick him in particular as somebody who has played an important role and has been a president of our association, a very much appreciated president. Thank you very much for the opportunity to open this webinar, and I now hand back to Stefan to introduce our first speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thanks so much, and great to have you joining from Australia here. Now, as all of our partners are going to speak, and otherwise we have a very long list, I would request now everyone to also welcome the people when you start speaking. I would just like one exemption, and this is Professor Dexin from the Chinese Wind Energy Association, as China is represented here well with 3 presentations. But Professor He, you do not have a speech yourself, and we are very happy, as Peter Rae already mentioned, to have you here on board. And I would request you also to welcome the participants. Yes, now we can hear you.
Dear President Peter Rae, dear Secretary Professor Stefan, dear guests, firstly, on behalf of Chinese Wind Energy Association, thanks for your attendance to the webinar Education and Training for Wind Power. We are much honored to co-organize this webinar. With the rapid development of the global wind energy industry, effective and high-quality education and training is becoming more and more demanding. Talent as the foundation and the fundamental productivity play a key role in economic development. Wind energy industry is a high-tech industry. We must clearly and correctly understanding the importance of talent, education, and training. At the same time, under the environment of world economic integration, sharing advanced technology is an important way to carry out the quality education and training. In the future, we should strengthen international cooperation and exchange, exploit the weight of talent training with industry characteristics, jointly promotes the development of talent training in wind power industry. Thanks for your attention. That's all.
Thank you so much, Professor He. It's a great pleasure to see you again. And again, I think this is an excellent opportunity to meet, although we are quite far away, and all our greetings to Beijing.